ComC is your home for buying, selling, and flipping all the hottest trading cards. Their consignment marketplace is home to over 27 million cards across all sports, genres, and eras. With a ComC account, you can purchase cards from different sellers over time and ship them home together later, or immediately reprice them for sale on the ComC marketplace. To stay updated with ComC, please follow them on social media at CheckOutMyCards, one word, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. To learn about offers, promotions, and more at ComC, please visit blog.comc.com. You're listening to the WaxPackHero Sports Card Minute, a podcast where we discuss both the hobby and business sides of collecting. I'm your host, Mike Zier, and I want to help you buy, sell, and trade your way into a collection you'll love. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the WaxPackHero Sports Card Minute. A couple of weeks ago, I had Ed Webb on the show, and we were talking about the upcoming Chicago non-sports card show, and that happened last weekend, and I had a chance to head up on Friday. I had a chance to get lunch with Greg from the Rebel Base Card podcast. We went to the pub, it was called. It's a little hole-in-the-wall basement bar and grill type restaurant there, somewhat near the hotel where the event was held. I had a nice Italian beef sandwich. We had a chance to talk a little bit before the show, and then we went back to the show, and I had a blast spending several hours digging through some 4-row boxes full of vintage non-sports cards in pursuit of the complete set of 1977 Star Wars cards. I already had Series 2 and Series 3 complete. I needed some Series 1, Series 4, and Series 5 cards, and I was able to work out a great deal picking up a bulk lot of those to add to my PC at a really great price. So really pleased with what I was able to find there. I was also able to pick up some more modern serial numbered Star Wars cards at a good deal that I think I'll be able to turn around and flip, and like I like to do, cover the cost of these cards that I bought for my PC. So it looked like it's going to provide a nice opportunity to do what I do best, and that is use some buying and selling to generate profits to cover the cost of things I want to add to my PC. The other thing I liked is I plan to go to this again in the future. I wish I would have brought the set list I need for the Stranger Things set that I'm putting together and a couple other things that I've dabbled in from a non-sports perspective, because they had it all. They had the TV shows, the movies, the wacky packs and Garbage Pail Kids, Star Wars, pre-war stuff was there. It was a really great event. Not too big, but plenty of selection to choose from. I would say 10 to 15 different dealers probably were there with a wide range of stuff. And so yeah, I spent the first 3 minutes of the show here talking a little bit about a recap of that non-sports show, but I will be definitely looking to get that on the calendar for October when the next one hits. Well, our main topic today is another super collector interview, and this is somebody that I was introduced a couple years ago when I first bought my million card inventory, when I bought out the shop, because I came across some random packages of wild card, like there were cello packs that were different than what you'd see. They definitely weren't a retail product, and I was trying to find out more information about them. People recommended that I reach out to Mike Zier because he loves wild card, and so I did, and we were able to figure out what was going on with those. We'll talk a little bit about that in the interview, but I wanted to also talk with him as part of the Super Collector series because of what he's done and what he's accomplished and accumulated when it comes to wild card cards, and as you'll see, some of the other college themed products. And so Mike Zier is our main interview guest today, and we'll get into that interview after I tell you about Underdog Collectibles, the online shop run by collectors for collectors. It breaks new product every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday night. You can check them out at udogcollect.com to see what they're going to be breaking this week, or you can visit them in their brick and mortar shop in Knoxville, Tennessee, where they've got a full selection of singles, wax, supplies, and you can even watch some of their breaks there in the shop. And if you hit something big, or if you hit something you like a lot, you can have them submit it to you to SGC. They are an approved group submitter to SGC. You can learn more about that at udogcollect.com. And when you do, tell them WaxPackHero sent you. We are back again for another part of our Super Collector series. And today I've got Mike Zier with me.
Mike is a super collector of wild card, and we first met a couple years ago when I first opened up the LCS and I bought that million card inventory. One of the boxes had this whole bundle of sealed wild card stripe packs, and I had no idea what I was dealing with, where they came from. But I put it out on Twitter, and Mike was one of the people that responded that said he might be interested in picking them up. And so after a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of research on both our parts, we landed on a deal. Mike was the new owner of all of those wild card packs, and that's how we first met a couple of years ago. When I decided I wanted to do the Super Collector series, Mike was another person who reached out and said, I'd love to talk about wild card if you want to do that. And I said, yes, that makes sense because we have a history. You've got a passion for wild card. Let's do this. And so, Mike, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Mike. I'm happy to be here, and I love your approach to the hobby. I really do. And someday when I quit coaching and stuff, I think I'm going to do the sports lot deal like you got. But right now, I'm glad to be here to talk about wild card.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Why don't we start with a little bit about when I sold you that lot of stripe packs? Both of us at first were a little bit stumped on what exactly these were, right? And I know you did some research, you ended up picking those up. So let's just talk a little bit about that deal originally, what that was, what you found out, and then maybe we can move on to how your passion for wild cards started.
Yeah, I always look for wild card things online, and I'm not really on Facebook. Twitter's kind of my only social media. That's part of being a teacher and a coach. But anyways, I saw that you had that, and the thing that kind of it really stumped me at the time. I was so excited because I wanted those, and I just couldn't for the life of me couldn't remember where they came from. Well, then later it just came to me is what those were. Is you had as I got them, and they're consecutive numbers. So in other words, if let's say you collected 10 base sets of wild card in 1992. By the way, for those listening, it was a 1992 NFL wild card set, which was put out in two series, Series 1 and Series 2. And what you had was if someone sent in 10 sets, Wildcard would send them back a 10 striped set, and they would do that set in those sealed packs like that. And I had forgotten what those were because they're so rare, Mike. That's a huge wildcard find. So the question is about those cards is, did they come from a collector who collected wildcard, or did they come from wildcard after they shut down for the first time as a kind of a liquidation type thing?
Yeah, and that is a question that I don't know that that we'll ever find an answer to because, like I said, there was about a million cards of inventory in this shop that I bought out, and there was this wall of cards that was taller than me and probably 20 feet long, and it was just an amalgamation of different collections that the original owner had picked up over the years that he had been open. And so there was no telling when, no telling who, no
Right.
telling where these things came from, but I knew that they were special, right? I knew that there was
Yeah.
something about them. And so I'm glad I was able to get them in the hands of somebody who has a passion for wild card. So let's talk about that. How did that passion for wild card start for you?
Well, for me, it started with I worked. I grew up in Miles City, Montana, and I worked at a card shop, cards and stuff. And I'm still friends with the owner, Kent. And he would, as my senior graduation gift, he took me to the Nationals in Anaheim, and that was when Wild Card, first started to put out their collegiate. The first product they put out were collegiate ones before they got their NFL license. And that's when they had like Todd Marinovich and Dan McGuire. And I just thought, wow, that's amazing, man. I like, you can collect we hate base cards. Like, we hate base cards. They take up so much room. And here I can take 10 of these guys and just turn it into 110 stripe. And then if he hits, or if I want to, I could get 2 5s or whatever. So it really started there with the 91 collegiate, and then the 91 NFL set was the first set that I recall me sending cards to Wild Card for $4.95 to Ohio to get exchanged.
That's great. And so you started way back when, you know, and what's that what's that collection look like? I mean, they were in business for several years. When I had a chance to talk with Daniel Atkins, one of the original or the original owner, a couple months ago on the podcast, you know, he talked a little bit about getting up and going and getting off the ground and the progress that they had made. Did you actively try to put together all of these sets back then, regardless of sport and all of that, or is that something that came about later on?
I actually focused on two sets, Mike. It's kind of crazy, but that first basketball set, I guess it'd be 91, 92. I mean, I have scads of those. And now I have a complete run, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, and 1,000 stripe set of the basketball. And the key cards there actually are not rookies, other than Larry Johnson and Kenny Anderson and Dikembe Mutombo and stuff. But the key ones there, like Pippen and Stockton, they had those guys. And then the other one that I got into was the World League set, which is why, Mike, when you did your podcast, that question about the 1,000 stripes for certain World League ones, I don't know. I mean, I agree. He's the owner. He says that, but I've not seen him, Mike. So, and there's no one looking more than me. He says they're out there. I say where.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the things that's, you know, I don't know that we'll ever get a firm answer to, because there's probably not anybody as passionate as you that has been searching for them this whole time, and yet they're nowhere to be found. It's kind of like some of these other things that we hear about from time to time, the wood bat minis from Allen and Ginter that were supposedly put out, you know, within some of the Topps releases, but nobody's seen them. You know, it's one of those mysteries that they're probably in a warehouse someplace, that were intended to be distributed, but never actually made it out. So you talked about that collegiate set having the full run up to 1,000 stripe, the complete set up to 1,000 stripe. Have you done that with some of the other NFL sets or some of the other sets that they put out?
You know, the NFL set, not 91 set. I have 100 and a 20 stripe set. The 92 is the one I'm currently still working on. The 92 is kind of tough to get because the cards with the material that they made them, anything that was open past 1993, the condition becomes a problem because they become stuck together. But I find if you stick them in the freezer for about a day and then you pull them out and you open your packs, it helps loosen them up. But my wife doesn't really like that when she's going to get some pork chops and all of a sudden there's some wild card boxes in the freezer. But I don't have a complete run. Like I said, that basketball, the World League, and then I got into another quirky little wild card set, Mike, and that was called Decision 92.
Okay.
All right, where you got Ross Perot 1,000 stripes and Magic Johnson's HIV card, which I don't know how they got away with that, but they did, so that was cool. And so I kind of got into that, and those are kind of my focuses. But there are certain sets, Mike, within within that World League set, they have a class back attack set, and that was like Emmett, Barry, Thurman Thomas, and then they had David Klingler was an exchange card. And so I try and collect the stripe cards of those, but they're super hard to find, super hard.
How many total wild card cards do you have? Like from a singles and sets perspective, do you have a feel for how many wild cards you have?
Well, if you throw in like the singles and stuff, let me put it this way: if Wildcard was still taking exchanges, Mike, they would be getting a monthly package from Mike Zier. I can tell you that. No, I mean I don't really. I have a huge card room, and it's tons of 6,000 count boxes, and I would say half, if not more, are Wildcard. So the issue that I have with wild card is, that's a lot of base cards. So I actually wish they were still around. In fact, Mike, they made a 30th anniversary set that you could get at the National.
Yep.
They only made 500 boxes of the black and 500 of the white. I am like single-handedly, Mike, trying to buy every white box through the big online retailers. So I've been doing that. Just I got another box coming this week. Looking forward to that trip down memory lane.
I was going to ask about your thoughts on their reemergence here over the last year or so. If you were continuing that collection on, or if you were primarily focused on the older stuff, but it sounds like, it sounds like you've got some interest here in the newer stuff. Talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on the cards that they've come out with here in the last year. I've been pretty impressed overall with the quality of those cards and some of the images that they had. They're pretty sharp looking cards, but I am not sure that they've had the widespread acceptance, at least from a secondary market value perspective.
Okay, Mike, thank you for the question. I'm dying to unload this. First, let's talk about the negative, okay? The white and the black matte, too confusing, okay? People in this hobby are simple-minded people. We're good people. We don't understand that. And then don't do the colored autographs, okay? We don't want green. We don't want different color. Don't do that. They look bad. All right, that's the bad, okay, Mike? Let's get to the good. Illumination inserts, the comic that's the wild card I know and love right there. So illumination, they need to stay focused on that. Okay, and then the retail version of the mat, the cards are really nice. The base cards are really nice. I didn't, I put together the white set and the black set of the base, just the kind of the retail one. And but I really like the illumination, and they just announced they're going to do a basketball set in illumination. I'm super pumped for that, Mike. So I think with the comics, but here's the big thing, Mike, and they haven't answered this yet. Okay. And I'm not bringing them down. I love them, right? No one loves wildcard more than me. So if they're listening, guys, I'm on your side. But they haven't really said what they're going to do with striped cards yet. Okay. They have striped cards. Like in my those boxes I was telling you I buy, the 1,000 stripes are 1 of 1s. Okay, the 100 stripes are 2 out of 2. Okay, now I get it. That was kind of a gimmicky set, which I love. But what are they going to do for the regular sets that they're putting out for the illumination that have stripes? What are they going to do? They haven't said yet, Mike. They got to come out and with something, Mike. They got to let us know. We're a year or so in now.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we start to hear a little bit more about their future plans, how all of this is going to tie together. There's a lot of excitement about their re-entry, and I'm hoping that they can continue to build on the momentum that they saw, in the second half of last year at the National, at the Industry Summit, with some of these products that have come out. I'm hoping that they can continue to capitalize on that nostalgic aspect that so many of us who collected in the 80s and early 90s when they came onto the scene remember them for. Before we kind of last question about wildcard, if there was one thing that stands out to you on why wildcard caught your attention so much, why it became such a passion for you, what would that be?
I really think that when I was a kid, we moved around a lot, and sometimes I would just get a box, right? And that's when we were moving from one part of Montana to the other, where this whole idea of if I had 5 Deion Sanders cards, I could turn them into one. I mean, I just thought that was cool. And then the flip side of that, Mike, is I could open a pack and all of a sudden, boom, I could get, 20 Barry Sanders rookie cards or Brett Favre or whoever it was, and so that was always the thrill, the hunt. And, they were the first parallel card, really.
Yep.
They were the first chase card. So, they do have a place in history.
So that exchange program was the thing that really caught your attention.
Yes.
Now, we talked about wildcard. We spent the last several minutes talking about wildcard, but that's not the only focus of your collection. There are some other key things that grab your attention when it comes to your card collection. Talk to me a little bit about some of your other collecting passions.
My other ones are a big one would be Sage. I collect their draft football stuff, and then they have also for the last 3. Well, they're not really in years because they do them when they've had the latest Sports Kings. They just came out with Volume 3, and I really enjoy that. I've always enjoyed that because to me, even back in like if you remember, Mike, like 2006, you had Reggie Bush and Vince Young. I mean, even those boxes at that time were high. Of course, little did we know what high box prices were, Mike, right? But anyways, so Sage was the alternative to where you could get, or Press Pass at the time, where you could get a reasonably priced autograph that was still legible from a rookie. And then the other big passion I have is the Pittsburgh Steelers and Philadelphia Phillies and my 76er cards. And then a sidebar, Mike, that I've really gotten into is that's non-sports cards. In particular, one segment of that, and that would be autograph cards from Star Trek, actors, actresses, those kinds of things that I think are rare. And then I try to get some of those graded, some of my favorite actors and actresses. But I guess I have quite a bit of hobby interests going out there, and like you and I discussed off the interview beforehand, was that with the change of the economy of the hobby, you just can't really open as much wax as a guy likes to. So you have to shift and still enjoy the hobby, which I do.
It's interesting that you mentioned some of these collegiate focused cards, right? The cards from before the draft type products, the collegiate focused products, before they have the NFL logos on them. And that's not necessarily super popular widespread, right? A lot of times people dismiss some of these Sage and Press Pass, Razor when it was around, some of these other products that are kind of quote unquote non-league licensed cards. Many of the players who played in college were college standouts, but many of them don't even make the NFL or MLB for some of the baseball products, or NBA for some of the basketball type products. What is it about those collegiate products that appeals to you?
Well, initially it was because you could get one autograph per pack, and that I'm a big NFL draft coming up this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, tomorrow, I guess, Mike. So I want the guy, the 6th round linebacker who's on the Steelers special teams. I want his autograph. Now, Mike, you brought up a very sensitive topic, and we're going to address this right now. Okay, Mike? And that's these people that get on here and they go, oh, those are worthless. That's terrible. Well, I got sales records, pal, that show you me selling, $400 or $500 Joe Burrow autographs from Sage. That guess what? When they came out, Mike, they didn't cost the same as what they have. Okay, it's all relative. Okay, and someone can still afford to get a Joe Burrow autograph for a discounted price. It's still authentic. He's still, throwing a football. Yeah, it doesn't have a logo on his helmet. I get it. Okay, but they've done, so has Leaf. They've done some nice things with that. But Mike, in this hobby, I loathe. I use the word loathe, and I've seen you fight some of these trolls too, Mike. And I loathe people who get on here and they try to tell me how I need to collect and tell me what I need to do. No, I don't care what you collect. Okay, those cards that came in Goodwin Champions this year, the deck things, the little rat things and little bumblebees and stuff, they're not for me, but someone's kid probably likes them. I don't care. All right, so you get out of my grill and stop telling me that I can't collect wild card and I can't collect Sage, okay? Because I've been doing this since 1985. All right, and I got news for you. 85 tops baseball and 85 tops football, that's not the nicest looking set, okay? It's not like we're beating down doors at how beautiful it is. 91 Fleer, don't even get me started on 91 Fleer baseball, Mike, okay? I get fired up about that, and I know you fight trolls about that too, Mike, and I don't want to give them too much time, but collect what you want to collect.
That whole topic, or the whole concept of logos and league licenses and all of that type of stuff, I mean, I think it's a conversation that's worth having. And there are some cards that I feel like, I can't even really tell the difference. And there's other cards that's like, yeah, that's pretty noticeable. I'd probably rather not have that one. But I was in a conversation at the industry summit. I believe it was one of the virtual ones that we had during 2020. And Brian Gray was in the conversation with me, and this question came up, and he said, where's the logo on the Walter Payton rookie card? Where's the logo on the Joe Montana rookie card? Two of the most iconic football cards that collectors want to obtain, of two of the most legendary players from the 70s and 80s. Where's the logos on their rookie cards? And I was like, you know what? That's a really good point. Now, it wasn't an option for Topps to put them on there at that point, but
Right.
there were no other options with logos either. But yeah, that's a good point. Those two cards don't have logos, and yet are some of the most sought after football cards that exist there from the 70s and 80s. And so, yeah, I'm a firm believer in collect what you like, collect what you're passionate about, whether that's a particular brand, a particular sport, non-sport, entertainment release, whatever it might be. Collect what makes you happy, collect what you enjoy, not just because somebody else says that's what you should be going after. And so that was one of the reasons I really wanted to have the conversation with you today, is because you don't hear a lot of people who are super collectors of the brands like Wildcard and Sage and some of those types of things. And so
you don't.
and so I appreciate you coming on and having that conversation. Are there any particular things, you mentioned the one wild card release that we have not seen, the Thousand Stripes, I believe, right? For the World League Thousand Stripes. Is that what it was that you've not seen?
Those are still looking at. And then,
is there anything else out there that you're still trying to get your hands on when it comes to your wild card collection?
Yeah, there's those, the insert set, the stripes of them. Some of those came out after they'd shut down. Especially like the prototype basketball set. There's like 6 of them. They're the white version that didn't come out. Christian Laettner and a few others. But there's a specific those class back attack ones that I talked to you about. I've only seen stripe cards of the Klingler, which means that they were already, I haven't seen any of the other ones yet, especially the Emmett and the Barry in them. And then some of the like gold foiled red hot rookies from 93. At 93, Mike, wild card was, I think they saw the end of the rope. And so they did the chrome product. They got in trouble with that. They did all sorts of different stuff. And anyways, long story short, Mike, they did silver gold of the red hot rookies, and I've yet to see all the stripes of those. So, and I may never, Mike, who knows, they might not even have been made, right? So that's okay. You just keep looking, keep grinding.
Well, if anybody has those things, or they've got a lead on where somebody else might be able to find them, or maybe you listening out there are another wild card super collector and just want to commiserate with one of your fellow brethren, Mike, tell people where they can find you and connect with you online.
Yeah, the best way to get to me is on Twitter. It's the only social media I'm on. It's at Zier Mike, at Zier, and then Mike, Mike. And you can get a hold of me there. And other than that, I'm really not in a lot of other stuff. I'm kind of a busy guy, with different coaching and teaching and stuff. So I just peruse different things, and Twitter has been hobby Twitter has been really fun. It's where I met you, Mike.
Yep.
And so I enjoy hobby Twitter, and that's where they could find me or find one of my friends and they'd get a hold of me. So I definitely love to talk to anybody about Wildcard. So.
Well, thanks again. I really appreciate the conversation today. I think there's going to be plenty there for people to grasp onto, hopefully some things that they had not heard of before. And there's no doubt about that you've been able to solidify your place as a wildcard super collector. So thanks again, Mike.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Anytime.
Like the athletes we admire, the Sports Card Shop is changing the game. We're not launching threes, bombing drives, or hitting dingers, but we have built a unique gathering spot for all collectors to trade cards, talk sports, play games, and watch their favorite athletes on the big screens. Yes, we've partnered with Panini, Upper Deck, Leaf, Topps, Fanatics, Pokemon, and others to bring you all the latest in sealed wax and singles. But the Sports Card Shop in New Buffalo, Michigan is much, much more. Our recent expansion brings collectible sneakers, Hot Wheels, and more sports and entertainment memorabilia into the mix. Our new Collector's Cave game room is the perfect place to throw a rip party, bring friends, rip packs, trade cards, play billiards, ping pong, shuffleboard, classic arcade, and Xbox games, all while watching your favorite sport on TV. Visit us at thesportscardshop.com. Follow us on social @_sportscardshop, or better yet, visit us in person to learn about special events, party packages, new products, and everything we're doing for you. The Sports Card Shop, connecting people, sports, and the hobby around the world.
Well, as you heard, Mike has a ton of different wild card products and cards in his collection, but there's still a few that he's trying to track down. So if you've got any leads on where those might be or where he might be able to find those, reach out to him. I know he would love to connect with you. Even if you just want to talk about wild card or Sage, he would love to connect. I would love to know what you think about this episode, and if you've got any other ideas for individuals or super collections that I can have a conversation about, reach out to me on Twitter at @TheMikeSummer. Send me an email at WaxPackHero@gmail.com. Follow me on TikTok or Instagram at WaxPackHero. I would love to connect with you, get some feedback, find out what parts of the hobby you're passionate about. Well, that is all I've got for you today, so I'll catch you next time.